Hello everyone, welcome to the community garden and welcome to Composting Week. So today I'd just like to show you a couple of tips about making good compost for your garden. It's a great way of disposing of all the vegetable waste in your garden rather than sending it to landfill, and it provides perfect fertilizer for your soil. So there's a couple of tricks that I want to tell you about. One is about getting the mix of ingredients right. So what you're trying to do is mix up material which is high in carbon, like these wood chips and this newspaper, with material that's high in nitrogen, like these fresh weeds, and we've got some sheep manure here. And everything else is on that grade from high in carbon to high in nitrogen. And you're trying to mix them up in a balanced way so that all the different components interact and work together to break down. Now, a couple of other things that they'll need to help break down is plenty of water, so we'll water it in well, and it needs oxygen too, so we'll be using this or a garden fork to mix things in well afterwards, and keep doing that for the first few weeks after you've made it, and it will heat up, and that's what encourages that composting process, and it will also help kill off some of the weed seeds and other diseases that you might be introducing. Now, I often get asked if people can compost weeds, and perfectly fine to do so long as they're not introducing disease and they're not introducing seeds into the compost. So I'd take some of the seed heads off if you can't guarantee making a really hot compost. One exception I would make is for our old friend kikuyu, which tends to just run rampant in the compost as well. So what I would suggest doing if you've got a problem with a lot of kikuyu is just either letting it dry out and then chopping it up once it's straw-like after a month or two, or you can put it in a bucket of water and just let it rot away. It will smell absolutely horrible, but then you can use that liquid as liquid fertilizer around the base of your plants. I wouldn't put it over your lettuces and things, but around the base of your plants, be full of nutrients, and that rotten down grass is then safe to put in the compost. So what we'll do when we're making compost in a bin like this is just try and layer it up. I wouldn't put too much in the way of food scraps in, a little bit in the centre of the compost, but you don't want too much in the way of flies and ants and so on. If you've got a lot of food scraps, you might be wanting to think about either feeding them to your chooks if you've got them, or putting them into your worm farm. A couple of other things that we can be adding to our compost is compost activators like this comfrey or this yarrow here. So they will add nutrients to your compost. Now, compost tends to go a bit acidic as well, so you may want to put a handful of lime in there. That will prevent flies infesting it as well, so it'll keep it a nice sweet smell. So if it starts to smell really ammoniacal, smell really sour, then it probably needs a little bit of lime and a little bit of extra turmeric and maybe some more dry material. What's happening there is it's breaking down without enough oxygen, and it's smelling the way that pile of grass clippings can smell. So add a little bit of lime. If you've got a lot of dry material, not much green stuff, you might want to put a sprinkle of blood and bone in as well. A couple of things I like to add is some rock dust, because that just adds minerals back into the compost, which is a great way of then introducing them into your garden. Not important, but if you have it to hand, it's quite useful. And finally, I like to add a little bit of old compost as well. You can see this is about 6 months old. It's been well and truly broken down. It's now brown and sticky, and if I really squeezed it hard, you'd see 1 or 2 drips of water coming out. So it becomes really quite sponge-like, and that's what's helping hold water in your soil. Now, that becomes the really extra important thing. Plenty of water when you're making your compost. Most people, I'd say 90% of people's composting problems is just not putting enough water. The ants then start to move in, it breaks down really slowly. Basically in a bin like this, we'd want to be having about a third of it of water by volume. So if you've particularly got dry materials, what you can do is soak some of them first. It's much easier to get them wet right at the start, soak them in a bucket and then add them to your compost rather than trying to wet them in there. So plenty of water, get the right mix of materials, add some of the extra goodies if you have them to hand, stir it regularly, make sure that it's not getting